we thought that we ended at fascism, right? Now that we have Joe Biden as president, there's no more fascism. We got rid of Trump. We have our savior, the Democrat, Joe Biden, who surely has never been a warmonger ever in his life, right? Never wanted to take control of the Middle East ever, saying that, oh, if there was no Israel, then we'd have to go out of our way to create an Israel. Because we know Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, right? They're surely not an apartheid state like how South Africa was, right? So here is what Joe Biden is doing. Joe Biden, the Democratic hero, and obviously, people, I'm being sarcastic here. So here is a story from The Last American Vagabond. This was written by Robert Inlakesh. Biden bombs Syria, Iraq, and threatens Iran. In the beginning of January 2020, when I started informing people, right? When I first took dipped my toes into the water trying to inform people, it was because of Donald Trump attacking Iran and assassinating Soleimani. I wanted to reduce the chances of there being a war like that, but it looks like no matter who is in office, we still get attacks like this. We still get threats against these countries that don't want to comply with what the U.S. wants. So Robert Inlakesh writes, the U.S. administration, the U.S. Biden administration, has launched its second round of airstrikes on Syria this year, also bombarding Iraq in a move which it defends as forwarding the aims of peace and stability. Yet it only seems like the airstrikes have worked to escalate tensions with the two countries and Iran. This Monday morning, the U.S. military used F-15 and F-16 fighter jets to strike target in both Iraq and Syria, belonging to the Hasha al-Shabi. U.S. President Joe Biden signed off on the strikes without an approval from Congress, sparking backlash at what many critics have called an undemocratic move. Regardless of if it receives approval from Congress, it's still illegal under international law. And even if it was legal under international law, it's still immoral. You're sending airstrikes to another country where there's lies and you run the risk of killing innocent people. It's immoral. Who cares if you need the vote from Congress or not? It's wrong either way. So the Pentagon said a demonstrated by this evening's strikes, President Biden has been clear that he will act to protect U.S. personnel. How are they a threat? How is Syria? How is Iran? How is Iraq? How are they a threat? How are they? We don't even allow refugees in this country. Or at least we set a lot of limitations for them to come to this country. And then when they come here, people treat them like shit. In a statement it issued on the strikes, yet despite the strikes being labeled as retaliatory and defensive in nature, the United States has not been able to verify that the two militia groups, Kateb Hezbollah and Kateb al-Sayyad al-Shuhada, were in fact behind any of the attacks on U.S. forces they are accused of. The U.S. claims that multiple sophisticated drones were used to attack its forces and military assets in Iraq, the most notable attack of which struck the Ain al-Assad base, the largest U.S. base in the country, yet without a transparent investigation into exactly where the drones came from and who was behind it. We are left only to believe the words of a U.S. government that overthrew the Iraqi government in 2003 over its intelligence on non-existent weapons of mass destruction. So the U.S. is supposed to be a democracy, right? Did the majority of people want these airstrikes to happen? Like, I highly doubt that anybody in the chat right now wanted these airstrikes to happen. I highly doubt that any of us want to be in any of these wars right now. So then we're not a democracy then. The U.S. airstrikes on Syria 4 months ago targeting PMU forces near Abu Kamal were also justified at the time U.S. media and the government by alleging that they had struck the group responsible for targeting U.S. forces in Erbil, Iraq. However, at the time of the strike, the investigation launched into the attacks had only reached a preliminary stage, and the only known group to have claimed the attack was a newly formed militia, Awilia al-Dam, which has no proven connection to the PMU. Iraq's Prime Minister, Mustafa al-Kadhimi, condemned the US strikes immediately in an unexpected way, labeling them a blatant and unacceptable violation of Iraqi sovereignty and Iraqi national security. This, whilst Kataib al-Sayyad al-Shuhada threatened a war on US forces and vowed a response. The official US excuse of using a show of force in order to deter attacks on US forces and stabilize the country has in fact only further escalated tensions and created a larger rift between it and its Iraq government allies. Of course, it's going to increase tensions. Like, you're attacking another country and killing people, and then long term it increases tensions. Like, you're causing all these people to suffer, and they're going to have a vengeance against the United States, and then they join the terrorist groups, or what the US classifies as terrorist groups. It's truly unbelievable, you know, how the US does this shit. I want you guys, if you know anybody who said that they voted for Biden, who said that we had to reduce harm, to show them that article, show them any article that's from like Vanessa Beeley or Eva Bartlett that's talking about these airstrikes, and be like, this is what we voted for. You thought that you were reducing harm. Look at all the suffering that your vote caused. Your vote for Biden is causing more suffering. The best thing to do is to recognize that our election system is effed up. These politicians are all bought by the same people who want more war so that they can obtain resources from these other countries in the global south, exploit all those people that have more in common with you, these black and brown people. Or if you're white, they're still working class people. You have more in common with them than these politicians. Tell them how much suffering is being caused because you keep voting for these warmongers, these war criminals. Honestly, guys, I can't emphasize enough how we just need to opt out of the system. And, you know, just get the word out about how to opt out. You can join my Discord. There's this Freedom Cells also where people can join Freedom Cells and put down their skills, and you can teach people the skills that you have. We can't keep giving money to these corporations and empowering them so that they can keep buying off our politicians. And have more direct action, spread more videos like this, more news articles like the one I just showed you. Inform people. The more people you get to accept that the step that we need to take next is to opt out, you know, the easier it becomes, the more people that you have on your side that agree with doing that.